Pop, pop.
Bears. Beats. Battlestar.
Stay on target.
You can't handle the truth.
Stay on target.
It's over 9,000! What, 9,000?
With great power comes great responsibility.
There's only one God, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Pop Culture Redemption.
Pop.
We back. I'm Connor.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Jordan Summers, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Uh-oh.
But it is true. Santa Claus is being charged with mild kidnapping and reckless endangerment. Santa, if you're listening, you have 24 hours to confess your crimes. Otherwise...
FBI, open up!
Did you set that up just so you could use that soundbite?
No, but it's like I started setting it up and I'm like, oh, I know exactly where I'm going with this.
So much production value.
Just turn yourself in now.
Yeah.
And again, we are Pop Culture Redemption, and we are just three cotton-headed ninny-muggins, and we are here live. Record. Yeah, I said it.
We're going to have to make this episode explicit.
Oh, dang it.
Are
can
we
just bleep
even
it
a
out,
Christian
right?
podcast?
You can just blip it out.
Not in my Minecraft server.
Ninny-muggins. All right. Well, some housekeeping. Again, welcome to the show. If you're following the podcast, that's great. If you're not already a subscriber or follower
You
or
should.
liking stuff or whatever, then please like our videos and our podcast and everything that we're doing. It really helps the show. Again, you can get your podcast wherever, however, and whyever. You get your podcast. You can check us out on YouTube. This recently, we had a couple of our shorts got over 800 views.
What? That's crazy.
We are super pumped about that. So if you want to check those out, again, follow us on YouTube channel. Just
you
Pop
get one to
Culture.
over 9,000.
Oh.
What? 9,000?
So we'll be working towards that. You can always contact the show at admin@popcr.org. And today is our first podcast in the month of December. And so throughout the month of December, we are going to be hitting you with a different Christmas movie each week. And so today, if you didn't already catch on to the cotton-headed ninny-muggins,
But also maybe the
it can be hard
title
to say sometimes.
of the episode.
Or that. We're reviewing Elf today, so we're using Elf to kind of guide our conversation, our discussion. Next week, we will be looking at we're going to each watch a different Hallmark movie that we've been assigned by Jacob's wife, Priscilla. And we're going to come back with some thoughts on that, and we'll have a guest on the show as well, who will probably have a more positive view of Hallmark, as there might be a good chance that
we all have a very negative remark about Hallmark.
might be a little
movies.
more critical.
Okay,
They're still positive. You know, rejoice, reject, redeem, and
It's
all
a little
of it.
more political way to say it.
Might be, a little more
Diplomatic.
critical. So that will be very fun. That will be a very interesting episode. Then the week after that, we're going to hit you with Christmas Vacation. And then the Tuesday after Christmas is on Monday. That Tuesday afterwards, we're going to look at A Christmas Story.
Classic.
So that's kind of our next 3-4 episodes coming your way. So you have a lot to look forward to. So today, we're diving into Elf. So this is released in November 7th of 2003. And it stars Will Ferrell, skinny Will Ferrell. Younger Will Ferrell. Yes, 20 years ago, Will Ferrell. And I learned that it was actually produced on a $33 million budget. Any guesses on how much it brought in, box office?
Probably more than that.
Probably more. That's a good guess. Jordan, would you like to submit a guess?
You said it was 33 million.
It did.
I'm going to say 180 million.
It's pretty close. It was
I'm gonna say
220.
200. Dang it.
Oh, sorry, Jake.
It's fine. I just don't like going first.
You're like, I don't want to set it. I just want to react to the first one.
Mm-hmm.
So it made $200 million compared to their budget. Currently, right now, it's streaming on HBO Max, and it is number one right now on top 10 currently being watched movies.
It's not
on HBO.
No, sorry. Now, okay. I'm thinking about when we're recording this, not when it's released. This is pre-Thanksgiving for us. And
Don't pull them behind the curtain.
Sorry.
Like that.
Sorry.
We're recording this just right before we release it. What are you talking about, Jacob?
We're recording it as we release it. This is live.
This is continuing. Elf.
Moving on.
The director is Jon Favreau. Jacob, do you know what else Jon Favreau has directed?
Iron Man,
Yes, and
The Mandalorian.
very good. That's what I thought that's the first one I thought you were going to go
Yeah,
to. But yes, all
that's-
the Iron Man as well.
I just didn't want to. I don't want to play into your
And
games.
a whole bunch of other stuff. And
His reindeer games.
I don't perform on command.
I don't
Dance
command
Monkey
on perform.
Dance.
That's a great song from
It
Cartoon
is, but
Network's
it
history.
really just gets stuck in your head.
Goodness. I forgot that existed.
Cartoon Network Groovies, man. That's a trip.
We're getting back on
That's
this
a
trip.
throwback
So other cast in addition to Will Ferrell is a blonde Zoe Deschanel,
with no bangs.
which you're like, what? James Caan, who plays the dad. Peter Dinklage, who makes a cameo in this movie, plays the author Miles Finch. Mary Steenburgen, plays the mother, Emily. And this is this part of your trivia question, Jacob, hosting on here? I'm going to ruin it if it is. She plays Will Ferrell's mom in another movie.
Dang it!
Do you
That was
know?
one of my questions.
Oh, okay. I won't ruin
I know.
it. then.
I know
wanna
what the
get it
answer
right.
is, but I want to see if Jordan.
I want to
knows
get it right. Okay, the preview for Uncultured Swine coming up in like 2 minutes, and the last one that we'll mention is Daniel Tay plays the kid.
Well,
Michael.
now I'm going to take that question out. Like I have other questions. It's
but I
fine.
want to get that question right.
That seems like cheating.
But did you mention Bob Newhart?
No,
Bob Newhart was also in this.
Who does he play?
Bob Newhart was Papa Elf,
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a comedian, right?
comedian, and he is 94 years old now, still alive, still kicking, and I'm simultaneously mourning and rejoice his marriage of 60 years. His mourning because his wife unfortunately passed away this year.
Oh,
Oh man.
But yeah, so there's some trivia for you that is not part of a
Dude,
Uncultured Swine.
I'm supposed to be leading the trivia.
Well, then go for
the
it.
answer, by the way, to that question I posed to Jacob, and then I didn't want to give the answer to because I wanted to answer it later. But
Yeah,
guys,
I'm not
going
gonna
to
give that to you.
Is
So-
Step Brothers.
Yes.
The Step Brothers. Yes.
I think you need to give context now because it's been long enough since you like brought it up. So what?
I think they'll get it. Rewind like 30 seconds or 2 minutes.
So Emily, the mom, is the stepmom of Buddy, but also plays the mom of
Mary
Will Ferrell in another
Steenburgen.
movie. That movie is Step Brothers.
Step Brothers. That's correct.
All right.
So you can untangle that mess of stuff in post production. Good luck, guys. Okay,
What post production? That's funny.
this is live. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
All right, welcome to our Uncultured Swine segment. Jacob,
Previously known as the biblically illiterate swine, which I was the victim of.
victim makes
happens
it sound
when
like
you-
it was past.
It's what happens when you test me on Taylor Swift lyrics. It's not going to go well.
in the Bible. I mean,
This is the Message Bible. It's like the Spark Notes Bible. Whatever. Anyways, this will never happen again.
never
Ever.
again.
I will never lose again. It's fine. But let's enter into some Elf Uncultured Swine movie trivia.
There we go.
After I delete one question.
Dang it.
Okay, let's start with Jordan.
I can't
So
wait.
these are all multiple choice until the last one, if we even get to it.
Okay.
But what does Buddy say that the fake Santa smells like? So he sees fake Santa. He says, "You smell like stale mistletoe." A. B. Beef and cheese.
Beef and cheese. B.
Dang it. Okay. Ding ding.
I specifically remembered that one because when I
Smell
heard
like
it,
beef and cheese.
I heard him say that, and I'm like, I smell like beef. I smell like beef. I smell like beef. If there's a
What?
it's an old vine of a little girl who's just like laughing, and going,
yeah!
I smell like beef.
I think you broke Connor. So Connor, next question.
So good.
I should have led. Hi, I'm Jordan Summers, and I smell like beef.
I'll get there.
Okay. I'm probably starting off with the easy ones, but what sea creature tells Buddy, "Hope you find your dad"? As
Narwhal.
Okay.
That's because I say that all the time. Bye, buddy. Hope you find your dad.
Well,
I do that with Lance all
hopefully
the
those
time,
are the
too.
easy questions. Also, never hosted
That's
Uncultured Swine before, so we'll see how this goes. Maybe
It's a
I've just really
growing
suck
experience
at
for you.
finding trivia
No,
questions.
These are good questions. I don't think I would have gotten the beef and cheese one.
Dang it.
So
Okay, fine. Jordan,
Yes.
what does Buddy apologize for cramming into his family's VCR?
I do remember this. Go ahead and
S'mores. A. B, maple syrup. C, cookies. D, fruitcake.
Cookies.
That answer is correct.
And you really hedge on the line there.
I'm pretty sure it was cookies.
Connor, this question is for you.
Ooh.
Director John Favreau, because I can never say his name, Larry,
Favreau.
makes a cameo in this movie playing what role? A, Santa's head elf. B, a plumber. C, taxi driver. D, doctor.
D, doctor.
That answer is correct.
Yay.
I don't think there's going to be a loser of this one. Anyways, it's fine. All right.
It's just because I know what
Jordan.
John Favreau looks like.
Yeah, it's
So
fair.
It helps.
It's Happy from Iron Man.
right.
Anyways, Jordan, what is the name of the snowman at the North Pole? Is it A, Leon, D, Dr. Freeze, C, Milo, or D, Victor?
What was the first one?
Leon.
It was Leon.
Dude, stop it. Yes. There's not going to be a winner, so this is cool.
You just get to do it again next time.
All right, Connor. Let's see how well you do with this one. So, actor Peter Billingsley plays Ming Ming the elf. What other beloved Christmas movie does he star in? A, Bad Santa. B, Home Alone. C, Christmas Vacation. D, Christmas Story.
I don't know the answer to this one. What was the first one again? Sorry.
Bad Santa.
What was B?
Home Alone.
Christmas Story or Christmas Vacation, those the other ones?
Yep.
Oh, heck. I'm going to guess a Christmas Story.
I don't want to be the uncultured swine. Don't do this to me. Yes, that is correct.
That was a guess. I just knew he wasn't in the first one because the guy that was in Psych on the Christmas episode where it was like the Christmas past, present, and future, where Sean's like going on a trip. That guy was the elf in.
You guys are making me look bad. Anyways,
No, you're making us look great. You make us sound like we're
like we're
geniuses
cultured.
Here. You know what we're talking about.
is this how like this segment is supposed to go?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe I don't
Probably.
know.
All right,
Maybe Connor and I have been the ones that are messing up.
Jordan. That seems easy. Let's see. What wild animal does Buddy try to hug? Do you need the multiple choice?
I do, but
As soon as I
know what
say it,
it
you're
is.
probably going to know. Yeah. A, gopher. B, raccoon. C, squirrel. D, pigeon.
Raccoon.
Yeah. You guys are making this segment
Yes,
lame.
that was what I was thinking. I'm like, don't throw any don't say red panda or something.
You guys are
That's
making
gonna-
this section really lame.
It's actually really funny for us.
Connor,
Yes.
what classic artwork does Buddy recreate on the Etch-a-Sketch?
Mona Lisa.
Yes.
Yep. Because I was like, dang, that's impressive.
All right, here. Which star was Jordan, this is for you. Which star was originally considered for the role of Buddy when the screenplay was written in 1993? A, John Travolta, which would be amazing. B, Bill Murray, which would be super sassy.
That would be hilarious.
C, Jim Carrey, which would be super chaotic. Or D, Val Kilmer for the next Fast and the Furious movie. Who was originally Buddy the Elf?
I want to say John Travolta.
Nope.
Okay.
May I guess?
Yes.
For me, it's between Jim Carrey and Bill Murray, 93. I'm going to go with Jim Carrey.
That is correct.
Yes!
Yeah, I thought so.
Yes!
I was like, I know that I know this fact because the Holy Post did, or not Holy Post, but Movie Proposal Podcast did it a long time
All right.
ago.
I have one more. It's not multiple choice.
But I'm up by
Y'all
one.
I know. So this gives Jordan the chance to tie or for you to get a super lead.
Okay.
This is not multiple choice. You either know it or you don't. There are also two answers.
Okay.
So if you only know one, that's fine. And it'll go to the next person. And if they don't know it, it can go back. But in the very beginning of the movie, Papa Elf says that there are 3 types of jobs that an elf can work in. What are they?
Be Christmas Elf?
No.
Santa's Workshop.
There were 2 more.
Yeah. Toll House cookie maker. living
No.
room.
Nope. Not a Christmas elf, an elf.
Yeah.
No.
Can work in Santa's workshop.
There was Santa's workshop, and then there were 2 non-Christmas related things.
I know. That said they
No,
made
okay, I'm
cookies in a
sorry.
tree.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
There was one more.
And
got it.
I know what the other one is too.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I think it was just free for all. Was it not a free for all?
No.
Oh.
The other one was Shoemakers.
Yes.
Yeah. See, I wasn't sure if you were talking about that or if you were talking about the 2 alternative things that Santa tried to have that weren't elves.
Oh, that would have been a good one too.
Yeah.
Trolls and gnomes. Well, thanks for ruining my segment, Connor.
Hey, Connor won.
Connor wins. So, Jordan, you are the uncultured swine.
Sort of.
You're the
I
most
also knew
cultured.
the other.
You are the most cultured.
Yeah, but he had a
uncultured swine.
1-point lead on you.
He had a 1-point lead, but
I wasn't keeping track. I'm really bad
Yeah.
at hosting this section. Because y'all both
2
had
answers.
everything right, except you got the
thought it was
original
just-
I guess
casting
either
wrong.
way, there would have been 1 extra point.
Yeah. So if
For
both of
somebody.
you got a point from that, then then Connor still won ahead.
There we go.
Welcome to this really crappy uncultured swine.
It was good.
Because both y'all knew all the freaking answers.
We just came in ready to go.
I did not.
This is only like the 10th time I've seen this movie, so I got a few more times under the belt.
Well,
coming
thank
into
you
this.
for making me look bad.
You made us look good. What are you talking about? You made us look like we were geniuses. I appreciate that.
I guess that doesn't happen that often.
That's
Hey-o!
exactly right. There you go. Okay, so our next Uncultured Swine trivia will be hosted by Jordan. Thank you, Jordan, in advance for that.
Have fun making trivia for all of Hallmark movies ever.
Yeah,
If one of us gets a point,
we might skip
We
the
should
Hallmark
win.
one and do it the next week for Christmas.
Well,
vacation.
we could see if Lizzie wants to do all.
That's true. Spoiler.
Fine.
ooh, or it could be
We have
all
a
of
guest
us.
on next week's episode.
We could be all of us trying to stump our guest.
Good. Just might not have guests the next time.
Oh, anyways.
All right. So again, we're
Stay on
looking
target.
at the movie Elf, and so we're gonna rejoice, reject, redeem, the normal format here. So we're gonna start with our rejoice. Name what is good about this movie. What is right? What is excellent? What is praiseworthy? What is true? Who wants to start us with the rejoicing? In the Lord always, and again I say, rejoice in the Lord. Sorry, I was just doing some filler music. Do you want me to go first?
No, we're gonna get
Lord,
demonetized
not
if you do that. Don't do that.
Okay, sorry.
We're not.
We'd
gonna
have
get
to be
demonetized for that.
monetized first.
Well, that's fair. That's yeah. All right. I rejoice embracing the outcast and prioritizing family, friends, and loved ones over work.
Yeah.
That is a message our culture seems to need more and more.
Amen.
And as a little thing to pair with that, this is Jordan's music recommendation of the week.
Ooh.
Holiday by Alter Bridge. May contain some swearing.
I was gonna guess
Use-
either Alter
use
Bridge
discretion.
or Disciple.
Is that why you're wearing the Mark Tremonti shirt?
Yeah, that's part of it.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Oh, I didn't see the Christmas thing on there. There we go.
for those watching?
Yeah, Mark Tremonti released a Christmas album. You should go check out that Christmas album too, because it supports kids with Down syndrome.
Nice.
Sweet.
Very good.
That's really cool.
My
good charity.
rejoice. Oh, did you have more?
No, I just said
Sorry.
that's a good charity. You're good. That's it.
My rejoice is the code of the elves. Do you remember what the code of the elves was in this movie?
No.
Was. There's three things. It's like right at the beginning, the first time you see Will Ferrell as Buddy, when they're in the classroom and they're like, here are the code of the elves. Here are the three things. 1, treat every day like Christmas. 2, there's room for everyone on the nice list. And 3, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
That's the only one I remembered.
Yeah, and that's the one that keeps coming back up.
I did my time! Breaking out that slip knot.
Scared the daylights out of me. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. If you have to pull over as you're listening to this podcast in the car, man.
You just caused so many car accidents.
So here's why I rejoice those three things.
I'm
and
not
I
the only
rejoice
one.
Jordan breaking in a spontaneous song. I treat every day like Christmas. 1, every day. I think that's true because I think every day we should acknowledge and celebrate the incarnation of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
So maybe a little bit different than what they think about Christmas in this movie, but That's the spin I'm putting on it. 2, I think it's true that there's room for everyone on the nice list because of 2 Timothy 2. Paul writes, I urge you then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, because God wants all people to be saved and to come to a knowledge of the truth. So, through Jesus, there's room for everyone on the nice list. And the third one, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. I think that
says the worship director.
That's right. Yeah. I was like, said the worship director. Even like Psalm 100, shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. We think about when the apostles were imprisoned. In the New Testament, what were they doing? They were singing. They were praying and they were singing. Psalms all over the place talks about songs of deliverance and songs of joy and all this stuff. So all 3 of those things, the code of the elves, I want to rejoice as good and true.
Good thing.
Yeah. So
Good.
Love it.
love it.
It's good.
Stamp it. Approve it.
You are Connor, and you approve this message?
I am Connor Gibson, and I do approve that message.
Nice.
It's definitely better than Live, Learn, Love.
Yeah.
Live, laugh, love?
That. Sorry, I've got
Lol.
Sonic the Hedgehog on the brain too. Live and learn.
Oh, heck.
Crush
Okay.
40.
I want to rejoice in... man, I want to be as easily amused as Buddy the Elf. Thank you.
You got a lot of work to do.
Oh, heck. No, it reminded me there was I actually had to like scour my small little library to find it because my photographic memory like remembered the page, but not the cover of the book is great. But there was this book called, I guess I haven't learned that yet, by Shauna Nyquist? Nyquist? I don't.
Nyquist.
Yeah, sure. But I really enjoyed this book. It was really good. It was just like her, I guess, I can't call it devotional because they're chapters, but like each of the chapters like 3-4 pages max, and there's a lot of them, which made it really easy to read.
Yeah.
But it was basically her process like of moving from small town Illinois to New York City as a family. And she made this one thing. She made this one quote. Here we go. She says, "One of my goals is to be a person who is easily delighted, who can find great cause and celebration in a fig or a familiar face." She was just talking about like finding joy and actually recognizing somebody in New York City. If you need fireworks or perfection in order to crack a smile, you're going to be disappointed over and over when life fails to be spectacular on command.
Yeah.
Like, maybe some of the, like, I'm not saying do the things that Buddy did because some of them were definitely crimes. But why?
Look, he was just learning from his influencer, Santa, who committed a crime by kidnapping him.
full circle.
We're not there yet. We're not to reject yet.
Full circle. No, but just in a day and age where we are covered and surrounded by distractions in high quality, high production, everything has to look perfect. I think if that's the standard we set for being happy or being amused, life's going to get really dark and really sad. So I just rejoiced and
sometimes
he found joy in like revolving doors. It was great.
Sometimes the amusing things are the things that aren't perfect, that aren't said. So
Preach
if I
it.
do this for you viewers who are watching, this be amused. Do it.
You look like a
now.
metal vocalist.
I mean, I kind of am.
Now you look like a Taylor Swift fan.
Well,
There you go.
that's
It's a previous podcast.
Keep it right in the center.
keep Jesus in the
Actually,
center.
that probably makes a pretty good pop filter. That's pretty good.
Well, I also hold on, let's do an A and B.
Yeah.
It's a little easier. Yeah, it's a little bit better.
And this ASMR podcast brought to you by Jordan Summers and his hair.
Somebody just start making mouth noises, and I think we've
Just
done all the way there.
remember, L'Oreal, because I'm worth it.
No more tears or tears. I don't know which one they're talking about. Okay. No one's going to get that.
I got
Nope,
it.
I don't even
Let's
get it.
move on.
What?
Let's
got
just
it.
move on. Let's just move on to reject. Let's reject my last statement and things from this movie. Who wants to go first?
I don't mind. I'm gonna like it's agreeing with in accordance with the movie, but the like providing for your family is important. I do want to point that out. Like, it is important, but it's not. But so is being present. And I think that's what we watched. Oh crap! What was his name? The dad, Walter Hobbs wrestle with. Is, and it's something that I've seen in my own family's life. Like, I remember back in my high school years that there was a very big fight with me feeling that call to go into ministry because it doesn't exactly pay a whole lot, but that's kind of the point. And my parents did a great job growing up of making sure that like they like providing a nice and comfortable life, and because of that, because they worked so hard, were able to even support me and my sister in ways that they could not have. But I think as my sister and I were like the two first Petkers in our family to go into ministry, really kind of flip the script on what success looks like, especially in family, not just for jobs or occupation or career. It's important to provide, but it's more important to provide your presence.
I think
It's about presence, not presence.
the C.
Yes.
All
Yeah.
about the C, as in Christ Jesus.
We'll just cut the thing right here
Yeah.
because this dog barking is absolutely driving me nuts right now.
Can
you hear it? You can't hear it? I can
You
hear
can
it
take your shoes off if you need.
Nice. There you go.
Now we're keeping it.
Nailed it. A little yuppie dog in the background.
Well,
Other than that, I want to reject a destructive creative industry that focuses only on money.
Would you like to say more?
I could go into details.
Industry as in like consumerism?
Well, no, I just
Or-
mean like they're kids, like the kids book company that Walter Hobbs works
gotcha.
for. I like there's the first scene that we're introduced to him, and he's literally taking books from a nun.
Yeah.
And we also have the what was it? I think the second interaction with him, he decided like, okay, we could take this. What do you say? We could take a $30,000 bath, or people could not actually get to see the whole story of this book. Like, I'm gonna care about the money first, and I don't want to. I'm not gonna say I'm looking at the CCM and the worship industry, how we have to be careful in a very, very easily perverted industry that could be taken just to success rather than to impact and accuracy.
it's something Rich Mullins very heavily was against and fought against.
I'm telling you. I'm just concerned this dog that's getting caught on the mic.
I don't hear it in my ears at all.
All right. If you don't hear it, then it's not coming through.
And if you do hear it in the podcast, let us know in the comments. And just let us know somewhere.
Just talk to us. Hi. How are you?
Are your dogs
doing?
barking?
All right.
The proverbial dogs of life. Christmas season can be tough.
It can be tough. All right. My reject. I need a clean cut. I'm going to do a soft warning. Here's a soft warning.
Ooh.
A soft warning. Be careful what you say when you're angry. And take notice of what you wanted to say if you don't say what you wanted to say when you're angry. So what am I talking about? Walter, right, has this big, huge blow up moment, right, when he's in this meeting, and Buddy comes in and has the encounter with that. Yep, the author that they bring in, and they fight, and he leaves and just blows up, and Walter, just yells at him and tells him he doesn't want anything to do with him. Get out of my life, right? Get out of here, boom, because he's angry at him, right? And later in the movie, he comes back and says that he didn't mean what he said back there. I think he actually meant what he said.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, when I'm angry and I say something that I shouldn't say when I'm angry, I go, I didn't mean to say that. Oftentimes, what I say is the truth, is what I'm actually feeling and what I'm actually thinking. And so I think in that moment that Walter was confronted with his own selfishness when he actually verbalized because that was what he was acting like the whole movie up until that point. Right. And it kind of sets up the redemption moment for when his son comes in a bit later and, is like, Buddy's gone and let's find him, and leads to Walter's growth and all that. So just be aware of what we say when we're angry, or what we want to say when we're angry. And we need to unpack that.
Maybe with that too is watching how you reconcile after you do say whatever you do in anger. Because It could have been a different story had he not I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a lie to say, oh, I didn't mean that. But I don't know. I feel like there's a better way to handle it. That actually shows maybe your remorse or your change of heart or something. Just to say oh, I didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yep. I agree. So my main reject. Here's my main reject. Similar to how Buddy names and discredits the counterfeit Santa, right? And tells him that he sits on a throne of lies in the mall and that he smells like beef and what was the other thing? Cheese? Beef and cheese?
Smell like beef and cheese.
I smell like beef. I reject when we or the church live into the counterfeit gospel that says we must do better or be better to earn our salvation or God's love, because it's a lie. So what am I talking about? Right. So Santa says, if you're good, you get toys. And if you're bad, you get coal. But God says that he demonstrates his own love for us in this. While we were still sinners, Christ died for us. He says that God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. His word says, for by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing.
It isn't.
It is the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. So don't buy into the throne of lies on which Santa is seated, on which our consumeristic culture is seated, that we have to be good to get good things, and when we're bad, we get bad things, because that's not the gospel, right? The throne of grace on which God is seated, that is the gospel, that Jesus came and did what we could not, right? So Christmas season, it's not about doing good or doing bad. It's about Jesus coming into the world, God incarnate, and being our salvation, doing what we cannot do. And we have access to all these good things, not because we earned them, but because of the grace given to us by God. So don't buy into that throne of lies, people.
But also maybe don't call people out the same way that he called out Bad Santa. If you know that they're not living right.
You sit on a throne of lies.
I think Jesus would be a little bit more kinder, more gentle.
Unless you're a
Than
Pharisee.
ripping
Yeah, I
off
was gonna
someone's fake
say.
beard.
Unless you're a Pharisee.
Yeah.
Selling things.
Read
in
the
temple
situation.
courts.
Read the situation.
This situation,
Yeah. What? I don't
my
don't get it.
abs, this situation. If you got that reference,
Nope, I got nothing.
we should be friends. Because that was such a deep cut. I don't think anybody listening was going to get that reference.
What's it from?
I'm not going to say.
Okay, cool. Bonus content.
All right,
Not
Jordan,
really.
what you got to reject?
Up yours. That's what I reject. So when
I just thought you were just telling Connor.
no.
Jordan and I have that kind of relationship.
Just got to tell you, Jordan, though. If you walk out of this podcast one more time, you're done. I'm
Don't,
kidding.
don't
his-
challenge him like that. He's going to do it.
It's funny you mentioned that. Just backflip over this. No.
heck.
Okay. When the dad is telling his boss, that he's like, I'm not going to stick around here for Christmas Eve, and we're not going to hash this out. I'm going to go be with my kid. And he's like having that moment of repentance, right? And he's leaving that. He tells his boss, up yours. Okay. On quitting to a bad boss or bad workplace, whatever, even if your boss is committed to evil, he or she is still created in the image of God and is worthy of dignity and respect. Evil is not conquered with evil. It is conquered with love and grace. Jesus did not defeat evil by crucifying the Sanhedrin or Pilate. He defeated evil by letting it do its worst to him. And even when evil had done its worst and run its course, even to the point of death, Jesus responded with eternal life. So, if you have that really crappy relationship with work and you're thinking about leaving, leave with grace and dignity. Leave and walk. And this isn't just about, the boss. When you're cutting ties with anyone or anything, cut those ties graciously and lovingly, understanding that the other person is also made in the image of God, that Jesus also died for them, that they are loved and worthy of human dignity and respect.
Yeah. No, that just reminded me of something our good friend Zach said in a sermon where he said, if you think that someone is your enemy and they have flesh and blood, they're not your enemy. Going off of Ephesians, for our enemies is not of flesh and blood, but of the powers and the principalities and all the other stuff.
That's right. And even Jesus' call, right? Love your enemies, pray for those who persecute you. Because, yeah, how easy it is to love those who love you. Mm-hmm. But we're called to something deeper as believers. All right, that's a good transition into Redemption.
Redemption.
So I'll go first this time. We're shifting it up a little bit. I'm going first.
Getting shifty?
I'm getting swifty. No,
Getting swifty
that
with
was last
episode.
two episodes. Not anymore. Sorry. No more swifty. I want to redeem the brokenness of every single one of our fathers by reminding us of the goodness and perfection of our Heavenly Father. And that this, as we talk about redeem and talk about building bridges with culture, that this is a powerful witness to the world. So obviously we've talked about Walter a little bit. He's not a good father in this movie for the majority of this movie, and kind of comes to reconciliation towards the end in an attempt to be a better father. Obviously he's on the naughty list, which Buddy is not happy about at the beginning. He, throughout this movie, rejects his son Buddy, offers to throw him to the curb, emotionally manipulates him, makes fun of him, wants nothing to do with him, ultimately because he, Walter, is prioritizing his own wants and needs and career and life ahead of his newly discovered son, right? And so I wanted to redeem this because, audience, your father, my father, our earthly fathers, no matter how good or bad that he is, whether that he was present or absent, supportive or manipulative, any of that stuff is not perfect. And this is true. And guess what? You, yourself, myself, no matter how good or bad we are not perfect either. We might be present, we might be absent, we might be supportive, we might be manipulative. We're not perfect. This is also true. And this is where we can build that bridge, because God, our Heavenly Father, the creator of us and the universe, who knows the number of every hair on our head, is perfect, right? And he is good, and he loves us and desires to be in relationship with us. And when we put our trust in him, that he can heal us, he can help forgive us, help us forgive our fathers for the ways that they have failed us or sinned, or in their own shortcomings have led to some of our own troubles or brokenness. It helps us to recognize and address our own shortcomings, our own sin, the way that we affect and influence and sin against others. And God is ultimately the ultimate provider of our every need. So this is good news. So again, whether you grew up with a great dad or a terrible dad or somewhere in between, that you yourself right now have access to God, our perfect Father, through a relationship with Jesus Christ. And this is good news. So that's like one of the big bridges that I saw throughout this movie. And it just is, it's helpful for us to remember, because oftentimes it can be easy to blame other people for our issues, or like to, maybe you come from a broken family situation, or your dad wasn't present, or maybe your dad wasn't great, right? And to obviously lament those things as what they are. It's a bummer. Like, it sucks. It's not good. And to recognize that we do have a path forward, and that no one is perfect. So you are not perfect either. And you have your own brokenness, and that's going to affect people as well. So in grace, in humility, we want to continue to love our dads, right? Because people continue to love us in our mess. And ultimately, we want to recognize that it reminds us that while we don't have perfect earthly fathers, we do have a perfect Father in heaven who loves us and cares for us. So that's my redeem.
Yeah. No, I think in that too, it's important, like, just even walking through walking through that process of realizing that your parents aren't perfect, or that your parents are human. I think through that process myself, the more that I saw the imperfections in my parents, the more that I saw the heart behind them. So I saw what I saw at the time, like what I was hinting at earlier, or like explaining earlier, the the really long and drawn out fight that was between mainly my dad and I about me wanting to go into ministry, which I don't like want to. I feel like at the moment was passing him off as the bad guy, but in all honesty, he wanted to make sure that I was taken care of. And I didn't see that at the time. I saw just about everything else but that. I was putting as much blame on him as possible. But looking back and like interacting, like continuing to interact with him and growing throughout that and looking back to see his heart of he just wanted to take care of his son. I have even more respect for my parents after growing up and seeing the imperfections in them, because it just shows people's hearts. Our brokenness shows what matters to us. Yeah. I'll say, so I really loved one at the very beginning, his dad and his family. And as soon as he came to New York City, Buddy's biggest flaw seemed to be that he was just bringing joy to people. And I loved that how by the end, what was seen as his biggest flaw is treated as his greatest strength. I was reminded we just went and saw Rent Collective in concert in Inman, Kansas. It was great. But they just had and I've heard the line so many times, but it just kind of clicked to me in a different way where they sang the line, "The joy of the Lord is our strength." And I think I needed that reminder. Because we as Christians are called to bring the joy and the love of Jesus to the world. We see the miracle of new life. Why shouldn't we find joy in the littlest of things? I mean, it's why our podcast exists. Why can't we see the truth of the gospel in a story like Elf, or in music by Taylor Swift, or in Guardians of the Galaxy, or Super Mario? And I'm just going to keep listing to try to self-plug our previous episodes. But why shouldn't we find God in everything? Why can't we find the joy of the Lord in our daily lives? It's not just kept to Sunday morning. The biggest thing that we ever kind of, I don't know if we were tricked into it or if we just tricked ourselves, was treating that separation of church and state in our everyday lives too. Worship on Sunday morning is just the family gathering of the church. The church lives every day. And it reminded me of a season in my college life when I had this just profound sense of peace and joy in anything. It was weird, but it was a very sweet and intimate moment of my life and my walk with the Lord, and I will always remember it. I mean, just walking to class, I would just feel this sense of peace in the Kansas winds that never seemed to stop, in the rustling leaves because it was in the fall, and it lasted well into the spring. Like seeing new life grow up, I'd be like experiencing euphoric joy just walking to class at 8 a.m, which I would have never felt beforehand. And I know that our faith and walk with Jesus is not about staying in those moments, because those moments end up being the byproducts of our walk with Christ. But it just reminds me that I think that's the part we are meant to share. Jesus wasn't just the Demi-Downer, sinners in the hands of an angry God, fire and brimstone preacher. That was mainly just the Pharisees. When you saw how he interacted with the common folk, with the normal people, it was all about bringing people life and joy and freedom.
Yeah. Some of the deepest joy I've experienced in my life came on a summer training program with a college ministry that I was a part of, where it was me and 200 other college ministry students, from different campuses across the Midwest, went to Jacksonville, Florida for a summer, and we'd work full-time all day, and then in the evenings we'd have workshops, or we'd do discipleship stuff, and then on the weekends we would have Saturday morning would be pretty intensive training, evangelism kind of stuff. And it was the most joy I've experienced in my entire life, like what you were talking about a little bit too. So I just want to affirm that when we have that community of believers, when we're seeking the Lord together really intentionally, and again, the joy of the Lord is our strength. That is a very real thing. And I walked away from that summer going, I think that's the closest taste of heaven I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I continue to think that summer where I was man, it's just 200 people so on fire for the Lord and intentional with their walks and sharing life together and being real together and doing hard things together. It was not an easy summer. It was a hard summer. But it was so good. And so I affirm that for sure. Jordan, do you want to bring us home?
I'll bring us home. All right.
You're gonna give us a ride?
I'm giving you all right.
Here we go.
All right,
Going on
I've got a
trip
lot to say.
In your favorite rocket ship?
Flowing through the sky, little Einstein.
Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Sorry, that was a.
Sorry.
Okay,
Jordan, I apologize.
it's all right.
I clear the runway for you.
Okay.
Take off, my dude.
All right, so I've got a lot to say. So I'll let you know when I'm done. This will probably take about 5 minutes uninterrupted. I'm also going to try not to cry through this. All right, you ready for this? When we are introduced to Jovi, she says, "I'm just trying to get through the holidays." So in June 2016, my mother died. That winter, I had moved out of state. Already there. All right. That winter I had moved out of state for college, and everyone was gone for winter break. I couldn't leave because I had monthly school bills to pay and I had to work. I had no family around me for hundreds of miles, literally. The only friends that I had at the time were all gone out of state to spend the holidays with their families. Christmas Day, I went to church, and then I went back to my dorm where I spent the rest of the day alone. To this day, it is the worst Christmas of my life. That year, Christmas was just another day. Another day that all I could do was cling to my faith and beg God for grace to keep moving forward. That December, I was just trying to get through the holidays. When you are caught in shadows, and it feels like everyone and everything around you is celebrating and happy as can be, it's okay to just try to get through it, because it does end. Sometimes it doesn't end the way we want or when we want, but it does end. But it is also okay to break down and cry out in the middle of it. That whole time, I was just trying to hold myself together and be strong through the trauma, trying to be a faithful Christian who trusts God through everything. But eventually, more pain and confusion piled on my shoulders until I couldn't take anymore and I broke. And I found out that even in the midst of my brokenness and confusion and doubt and anger and loneliness and pain, God was still with me and still loved me. As I mentioned before, that season of shadows does end. I also mentioned that Christmas 2016 was one of the worst Christmases of my life. Was the worst Christmas of my life. Let me tell you about Christmas 2017. I had left that college I was attending because it was an unhealthy place for me and a dead end for me career-wise. I ended up living with my sister and brother-in-law for a few months, where I had the first chance to rest and mourn since Mom passed away. Most people who know me know that my favorite band is Disciple.
What?
Yeah, I knew Jake was going to say
Crazy.
that. I knew he was going to say that the moment I wrote that. I
Did you
typed
put that in the notes?
I know, but I could have. I knew at the moment I typed that Jake was going to. Anyway, before college, I was taking online Skype guitar lessons from Andrew Stanton, the lead guitarist for Disciple.
Flex.
Andrew was and is someone I really admired, and hopefully he doesn't mind me sharing the story. My sister sent him an email explaining everything that had been going on in my life and that I was in a really rough place, asking if he could just write a short message of encouragement to me. He wrote back a massive full-page email encouraging me, and my sister printed it out and wrapped it as a Christmas gift to me. That letter of encouragement from someone I so looked up to, especially through all the hardship of the past year and a half, meant the world to me. It is one of the 3 greatest Christmas gifts I've ever received, and it was one of the best Christmases I have ever had, even to this day. I say all of that to encourage anybody watching or listening right now. There's light beyond the shadows. There is joy beyond the mourning, and you are deeply loved by God. And He promises to never leave alone those who trust in Him, never to forsake them. Okay, that's all.
No, it's a good reminder. He is our great comforter. Oftentimes, He doesn't save us from the fire, but He will sit with us in it.
Yeah, I remember a friend of mine going through a pretty tough relationship breakup, and just really messy. And he was kind of sharing it. He's like, I don't know where God's leading me to go. Like felt kind of lost. And like, I was like, man, like, I just kind of felt like this. I was like, sometimes the Lord leads us somewhere, but sometimes he's our good shepherd and just is right next to us and in the pain. And we don't want to be there, so we keep looking for him elsewhere. But he might be just sitting right next to you and just telling you, hey man, just like rest in my presence and let me love you. And as we go through this hard time.
Christmas 2017. How much longer after that did you arrive here in McPherson, like at Central? And
So that's a fun story too. So I was like, up until that point, I didn't really have any like close friends or anything, and didn't really know anybody. So I landed in Kansas in 2017. And let's see, 2018, I auditioned for the worship team at my church in Salina. Then that audition, some of the people who were auditioning me told me about Central. So then I started gearing up to go to Central in 2019.
Yep.
And that opened up just a whole new people to come in and love on you.
Mm-hmm. And 2018, before that had happened, is when I started D&D with my D&D group. And I think the week, this is insane to me. And I will always look back on this as a gift of God's grace during this time. I think it was within the same week that I started D&D that I discovered what was the Holy Post or what was the Phil Vischer podcast and became the Holy Post podcast. I discovered that podcast and started my D&D group with now some of my best friends within a week.
Wow.
Of those two things.
No, it's just cool to hear, like, because like you've told me part of this story before, but it's cool to hear like the depths of the darkness, that God took the things that were hurting you, the things that really beat you down. And I mean, I'm just reminded of Job, and not immediately, but eventually gave it back with plenty. And is one of the reasons why we're sitting in the same room recording this podcast right now. Because you came to Central, you met Priscilla, and through Priscilla met me. And it's just been great since.
Yep. And it was a combination of Central and my church from Salina that I met Connor.
Yep.
Oh.
So basically, this great podcast and all of the good things that have happened to it with it,
if you didn't think
were the results of you getting through one of the darkest seasons of your life.
And if you didn't think anything good happened in 2020, I met Jordan in 2020. So,
Mm-hmm.
boom, there you go. One good thing.
Yep.
I mean, meeting Jordan Summers at any point is a good thing.
It's a real good
It'd
thing.
be a highlight of my
It's
year.
real good.
Well, I will don't tell that to the Walmart employees after I've had to go to the bathroom.
All right. Bring this full circle.
That's a good segue.
I think this has been really good. And as we wrap up the podcast for today, I think it's important for us to remember too, just like Jordan shared, oftentimes we or people around us are going through some really, really hard stuff or have gone through hard stuff, and Christmas season is really difficult, especially if you've lost someone. And so it's just a good reminder for us to be aware of that and to be on the lookout and to kind of look around us and say, okay, who is hurting during this season? Who can I love on this season?
Who's stressed during this season?
Yeah. Or if you're hurting, right, then who are the people that you can be real with and kind of say, hey, this is a really hard time. I could really use some encouragement and some prayer and just someone to walk with me through this season. You don't have to have like the answers, right? I think oftentimes we're like, I don't know how to sit with people in that because I don't know all the good godly answers to give people for why they're going through stuff. Yeah. You don't need the answers.
No. Look at Job's friends. The best thing they did was sit in silence, and then they opened their dumb mouths.
Yeah. So just the ministry of presence is huge. So I encourage us for that.
There's a Hebrew concept for that. It's called sitting Shiva.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go into depth about that because that's a whole thing. But look into it. Sitting Shiva.
All right. So that's our podcast for today. This has been the Elf episode. Again,
Elf baby.
Thanks for listening.
don't
Again, we encourage you to respond to the show. You just listen. Subscribe.
Or listen to our other
Follow.
episodes.
Do all the verbs. Listen to our other episodes. Speaking of other episodes, Across the Spider-Verse is now on Netflix.
What?
So if you're waiting to watch that movie before listening to our Across the Spider-Verse episode, go ahead and watch it and then listen to our Across the Spider-Verse episode. You can always check out our YouTube channel. Please do. Again, we're posting shorts regularly
Wait,
on that.
Across the Spider-Verse or Into the Spider-Verse?
Across the Spider-Verse
The
just
newer
hit
one.
Recently. Yeah, like
It
recently.
was the new one. Or I thought it was the first one.
It's the second one.
Dude, I'm so
Yeah.
excited now.
I'm about to watch that one. I don't know if we have something on the polls or not. We might put something on there, so vote on it. Whatevs, Tell your friends.
Tell your enemies.
Tell them all. I don't know. That's what I got. Anybody else want to say something before we sign off officially?
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Don't eat the yellow snow.
Bye, buddy. I hope you find your dad.
And Christmas is the greatest day in the whole wide world. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.